So we will begin with Ji Hyung Padma, who comes from down the street in Wellesley. And I will introduce by saying that Ji Hyung works as a director of spirituality and education programs at Wellesley College. And she also directs a fairly new program of the arts for community. It's a few years old now, known as Art and Soul, which creates community through the power of shared stories and transformative power of the arts. And I think there are flyers over there. She's been practicing and teaching Zen for 20 years and currently working on her first book, Zen for Transformative Times, which is being published next spring. She has a blog, which is a reflection of the beauty and wisdom she sees within all beings and the natural world. And perhaps there's information you can get from her about that. It's naturalwisdomblogspot.com. And for our features today, instead of talking about their life stories, I have a quote from a mystery person for each one. And for Ji Hyung Padma is as generous and caring and kind a community activist as she is creative and wise as a gifted writer, spiritual leader, and public speaker. Each member of community, be it student at Wellesley College, a member of the surrounding community, a participating CEO at Esalen, the arrival of Mary Oliver, or beautiful green frog in the pond, everyone is warmly welcomed and honored and offered many gifts of her mindful way of being and celebrating this life. She has provided opportunity for not only those on the campus of Wellesley, but also those interested in attending her inspirational events of arts for free to see things like the musical performance of Libana, Tibetan nuns creating a mandala, the poetry of Mary Oliver, in an intimate chapel, spoken word poetry of Ayoka Ogawa, traditional dance of India, and much more. All of it captivating, inclusive, and restorative. Her dream, if possible, to bring thousands to attend the Art and Soul Coffee House. She said thousands, I believe, which she founded and organizes in one great big collective celebratory spirit of one. Please give a warm morning welcome to Ji Hyung Padma.
I'm writing this book, Zen Practices for Transformative Times, because I do think we're at a transformative time. What the Greeks called kairos, a turning moment where anything can happen. A great opportunity to awaken, as well as intensified experiences of our own habitual patterns. In Buddhist scripture, we talk about this as a great opportunity, and one that is well met with a practice called the lion's roar. The lion's roar is the charge we're given as a way to meet these energies, both the energies within and the energies of the time. It's actually a great vow of compassion, which arises out of complete openness and transparency. This teaching is shown in Ashokan art as 4 lions facing the 4 directions. That means if we move toward our life experience, not holding back anything, we have access to the highest energy, which is complete fearlessness. We find the courage to take off our armor, and our golden lion nature is revealed. Moment by moment, this openness becomes a raw, new place to live from, and our light moves others to awaken. Through our practice of staying open, staying connected to our intentions of compassion, our practices of seeing how we're not separate from anything in the universe, we live our way into an enlightened world. Our energy radiates through to others. Every action, every thought is like a stone thrown into the water, rippling and widening circles. And this is creating our world. This can start in a simple way, just through being present with our own body and mind unconditionally. We can bring our awareness fully into present time using our breath. And we could try this right now, just centering ourselves in our body and noticing the sensation of the breath, this river of life which is moving through us. Just noticing the breath wherever it's most clearly perceptible. Any physical sensations, warmth or coolness, pressure or tingling. Any sensations at all. Noticing as well any thoughts or emotions that arise. Letting these be as they are. Without repressing or without identifying, we simply let it all move through. And as we sit with this, the body-mind releases energy. We may experience this release as blessing, as bliss. We may experience the release as edginess. But in a way, these are two sides of the same phenomena. These energies are inner weather patterns. They're like the elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And we can experience great energy, even a kind of joy in letting these patterns simply move through. The space between exhilaration and fear, between anxiety and bliss, is as close as a single breath. So this is a practice of radical vulnerability. Staying in this open place without resisting, without holding back. In Katagiri Roshi's words, we forgive the entire universe for being itself. We're willing to dance in the fire. When it rains, we're soaked through to the bone. So thus, the lion's roar is our charge for these times, whether the obstacles we experience are felt inwardly or collectively as this time of Kairos. The instructions are the same. So that's a place to start with. The next passage comes out of the image of Indra's net. I always feel if anyone gets anything from my teaching, it should be that awareness of our connection. And sometimes we use this image to describe that. If you want to envision a net, horizontal threads representing time, vertical threads representing space. Where each of these threads is meeting, there's a crystal. And each crystal is reflecting not only every other crystal, but every reflection of every other crystal. So just in that way, we're always coming into being together. We're composed of these reflections of each other. So this is a short story about that. So on a certain day, I had a clear sense of making connections, but what was entirely about logistics, driven by a tight schedule. Waking at 5:05 a.m., practicing meditation until 6:25 a.m., leaving the house to catch the bus at 7 a.m., to Wellesley College, arriving at Wellesley at 8 a.m., making Xeroxes and delivering these to the office for a noon event, making Xeroxes for a stress reduction class, catching the 9 a.m. bus, and arriving in Kendall Square at 10 a.m. right on schedule. So now I was right where I needed to be, to catch the subway downtown for a stress reduction class I would be teaching at lunchtime in the financial district. This is where the universe provides a new lesson. So as I got out of the subway train, I momentarily looked down, adjusting the 2 bags I'm carrying and the box of Xeroxes, rebalancing. In that moment, I hear something, a brief chorus of sound. As I look up, I see someone has fallen backward on the escalator. The man is, in fact, still falling, head first. His head bumps each steel step. With each lurch downward, my stomach jumps. This moment seems expanded, as if time has stopped. His falling down the up escalator seems to defy laws of gravity. At that moment, for a moment, I pause. To my side, there are a bevy of passers-by who have decided it's a good day to take the elevator, the door of which is closing. In that moment, the illusion of a neatly constructed agenda hovers and disappears. This is the connection I need to make. Extending a hand, however awkward it could feel. Even as I run up the escalator, a part of my mind still cries out, "What can you do? You're not built brawny enough to haul this man back on his feet." Yet as I get there, the second man on the escalator is struggling to pull him up, or at least away from the teeth of the escalator. I lean and push from behind. As the man's form caves backward, I see a place to give a focused push, the kind used in volleyball. The second man catches his body, anchors it forward, and the man finds his feet just as we arrive at the top of the escalator. I checked in with him. "Are you okay?" Which he was. A woman said, "You hit your head." He replied, "That's okay. I don't keep much in it." He was no doubt ready for chiropractic, but no other injury occurred. Someone later that day expressed surprise I hadn't stopped to consider the bags I left at the bottom of the escalator. I know for me the bags were not in the way of a spontaneous response. Meditation practice helps me step out of my own way to see a connection and respond. Every now and then I do get a wake-up call, and although the experience was gut-wrenching, at the end I felt more alive, more authentic, more myself. So did I help him, or did I help myself? Is there a difference? So this third piece is from the Lotus Sutra. I know it's National Poetry Month, so here is my poem contribution. It's very old but very beautiful. The rain falls everywhere, coming down on all four sides. Its flow and saturation are measureless, reaching to every area of the earth, to the ravines and valleys of the mountains and streams, to the remote and secluded places where grow plants, bushes, medicinal herbs, trees large and small, 100 grains, rice seedlings, sugarcane, grapevines. The rain moistens them all. None fails to receive its fair share. So for me, what that means is that the path really includes everything within that infinite compassion of Indra's net. Just as the rain falls infinite different ways but has one taste, so just in this way our own clarity and compassion is expressed in infinite different ways. And yet everything is intimately part of our ecosystem. On a spiritual level, this may mean having compassion for those parts of ourselves that are difficult to look at and seeing these as workable. Rather than pushing down these elements so that they're buried and gain energy, we can work with this rich material. As we do, this mulch becomes our dharma, our treasure. So this is the razor's edge of practice, the pick and shovel work. As we sit meditation, we will experience joy and calm, as well as anger, despair, the entire range of human experience. In these transformative times, there's no way to escape making contact with these feelings. But a great shift happens when we deliberately make contact with these, own and acknowledge these. As we bring awareness to primal emotions, that awareness magnifies its heat. It may feel unbearable, but at the same time we train in staying with it, letting it move through us like a volcano. That practice of keeping our seat in a hurricane is the practice of alchemy. We continue to stay open, asking ourselves, what's going on for me right now? Can I be with it completely? That quality of unconditional openness turns compost into flowers. When we see our inner life as a whole ecosystem, and everything that arises as workable, it becomes possible to see this wholeness in the faces of people around us, to see it within our communities and within this sacred earth. So that is all for this morning. Thank you for allowing me to share this premiere of the book, which comes out in spring 2012. Have a good morning.
Thank you. Of course, as always, I've got to share a little bit of sculpture. This one is called Infinite Mind, creating the face and the infinity. And sort of the openness kind of talks about how if infinity is everywhere and everything, we are the infinity, because of course it can't stop anywhere, so it does include us. The device, the body is a device to calculate the astronomy of the spirit. Look through that astrolabe and become oceanic, by Rumi. This is a couple of my poems that I've written a little bit in the past, and they're also sort of poems about poetry. The words I write before I write them are scribbles in the dark imaginings of memory. Pictures in the mind are just picture postcards of still dead, beautiful milestones of times gone and desired after. True beauty can't be held. It sifts away, leaving the residue of its passing, but nothing to grasp like the symphony's sonorous ride, leaving only echoes. No, poems from me come from the imaginings inside closed eyes, where you can feel the breath and bones of a thing. Then sneak it out in the dark scribbles, a scribble like a sideways glance, and then it is gone. And then another poem, this one is very short, sort of these poems are almost little slivers, little fragments of time that we kind of capture ourselves in the past, kind of like a snapshot, but only in words. I write these words that you may grant me the immortality, slip by in the passing, and for you, the future me. Thank you.
I search to be filled with inner peace. I search to be myself and true. I search to be of love, and I ask that of all of you. I ask you to be of love to everyone you see. I ask you to have a shift of heart so the world can feel free. May there be a shift of heart in all people who seek revenge. May those who have the power to destroy the world feel a transformational change to save the world. And may there be a shift of heart in the spirit of love. May all people understand one another. And if we can't understand one another, may we at the very least, respect one another's differences. And may there be a shift of heart and judgment. May each one of us find inner peace, love, understanding, forgiveness. And may there be a shift of heart within us. Please send a glorious beaming light through all of us. Let each human being suddenly feel love, transformation, the power of prayer and divine inspiration, and may there be a shift of heart towards faith. May each person celebrate the precious life that they have been given by teaching tolerance, love, and peace. And may there be a shift of heart for all humanity. Peace begins with me. Peace begins with you. Peace on our earth. Peace, peace, peace. Ah, shift of heart. Thank you.
Lavender, jasmine, rosemary, peach and pear, apricot, then there's me. Tarragon, strawberry thyme, in my trees where I hide. Everyone just walks past me.
Whether it's infectious disease, severe weather, or a chemical spill, emergencies that threaten our public health can happen at any time. After the events of 9/11, the federal government established the Medical Reserve Corps to respond to emergencies. Today in the Commonwealth, 45 Corps units recruit and train both medical and non-medical volunteers. In addition, the Department of Public Health's MSAR program, or Massachusetts System for Advanced Registration, credentials and deploys healthcare professionals to respond in such emergencies. Now a new effort is underway to enhance emergency response by aligning the activities of both groups. Mass Response is designed to facilitate emergency medical response and promote local partnerships in planning and assistance. And you, health professionals and concerned citizens alike, can be part of this important effort. For more information on Mass Response and how to get involved, visit maresponse.org.
I'm Dr. Kathy Phillips.
And I'm Dr. Andrew Blum.
Epilepsy is the third most common neurological disorder in the United States after Alzheimer's disease and stroke. It affects more than 3 million people, with 200,000 new cases diagnosed each year.
The condition is caused by a temporary disturbance in brain function, resulting in various kinds of seizures. These seizures can produce involuntary movements, changes in awareness, altered behavior, or loss of consciousness.
Epilepsy is a major chronic medical condition and can affect a person's quality of life similar to arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, or cancer. It can limit activity and cause pain, anxiety, or depression. It can also be life-threatening.
Because epilepsy can also present non-medical challenges such as discrimination and social stigma, we urge you to learn more about this condition.
To find out more about this disorder, including its symptoms, diagnosis, and treatment, visit epilepsyfoundation.org.
I'm Dr. Nancy Rappaport. Suicide is a difficult topic to discuss, but one that needs open communication. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among 10 to 24-year-olds, and it's on the minds of far too many young people. A national survey of high school students discovered that 1 in 7 said that they were seriously considering taking their own lives. Deaths from suicides are only part of the problem. Every year, some 150,000 youth receive emergency care for self-inflicted wounds. Suicide leaves family and friends shocked and confused with unanswered questions about what might have been done to avoid such tragedies. Research has allowed us to identify risk factors, warning signs, causes of suicide, and strategies for prevention. Visit the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention at afsp.org to learn more.